Happy Halloween! Wah. I had so much fun creating this look. It was inspired by an awesome beauty blogger and makeup artist that is such an inspiration to me, Design Perkins. It's my first time working with liquid latex. It was so much fun. Really messy, but a ton of fun. So if you want to find out how to get this look, then stay tuned. Okay guys, let's get started. So I'm gonna go ahead and start by priming my face. Definitely hitting those areas where I have more pores, and I wanna make sure that I've got those all covered up so they don't show through. Now I'm going to be taking the lightest purplish blue in the BH70s palette, and I'm going to be putting that over my eyebrows just as a base. Just in case any of the color that I paint over tends to fade, you'll still see this color underneath. Now I'm just going to go ahead and go along with my normal eyebrow routine. So you can do whatever you typically do for this part. Now I'm going to prime my eyelids. It's always best to prime your eyelids. You just want to make sure that you have a good primer on so that way your eyeshadow will last. Now I'm going in with MAC Emphasize, and I'm just going to set that primer. It's also acting as a highlight under my brow, just kind of lightened up that purple a little, which was kind of cool. Going back into the BH70s palette, I'm picking up that purplish light blue again, and I am going to go ahead and pack that onto my lid. And you don't have to worry about being very clean with this because we're going to buff the same color throughout the lid up above as well. So taking a fluffy tapered brush, I am just pulling that color upward. And I did go ahead and dip right back into the palette and added more color. Now I'm going to go in with the darker purplish blue color, and I'm putting that into the crease just to add some depth. And I'm packing that in, and I'm also working that into the outer V, and it is touching the corner of my lid in the outer V. So I wanted to add some more depth, so I'm going into the Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm taking the blue that is in there, and I'm packing that into the outer V and the crease as well. Now I'm going to put some liner on. I really wanted it to be dramatic, so I really winged it out. Now I am adding falsies. These are from Cocoa Lashes. Taking the Jaclyn Hill palette, I'm going to go ahead and add some black to the crease just for more depth. And I'm making sure that I line that with my eyeliner. Now I'm going to use a white eyeliner pencil to draw the gaping blush holes. And you can do these however you want. They do not have to be the same or precise. And the great thing about using a white eyeliner pencil is it's very easy to erase if you mess up. I know I had a couple that I decided to kind of fix or change. You want to make sure that you have a couple going through your lips. That will just really add to the effect and make it look really cool. So I drew a couple that were kind of teardrop shape, a little bit smaller, and I feel like that really added to the effect. And then I went ahead and went over some areas that I felt were really light. I just wanted to make sure that they were more defined so that way when I painted on the edges of them, I could see where I needed to paint. Looking good. So I just went over, like I said, over the edges, just making sure everything looked defined. Now I'm going to go ahead and mix the color. I used a purplish blue and some white. I really wanted it to be like this neon bluish purple, but a little bit lighter. So once you've got it mixed, you can go ahead and start painting. One thing I will say is that this paint was difficult to work with. I didn't realize it was going to be so difficult to work with. The paint that I purchased, you can get at any Halloween store. I happened to purchase mine at Party City. But I did notice you have to paint in the same direction, and you definitely can't go over the paint once it dries. You have to do another layer after that. So just something to keep in mind. And this process does take quite a while. You just need to be patient and just work as slow as you need to. Pace yourself. The edges were definitely a little bit more challenging where the gaping holes are, especially since I had to go over a few times and layer just so that the paint looked solid. But don't worry about being completely perfect. Like if you mess up, it's okay. One thing I noticed is that I was able to correct any mistakes that I made pretty easily. I could just paint over it, whether it be with the color that's inside the gaping holes or the color on the outside. So I went down my neck, and you'll see later, I didn't know how far I was going to go with it, but I ended up going pretty far. So now I'm going back into the Jaclyn Hill palette. I'm taking the same blue that I used in my crease, and I'm going to go ahead and fill in underneath my eyes and just really buff that out. You don't have to worry about being too perfect with this as well. It's okay to be messy. You want it to be dark. I ended up bringing this color down even a little bit further, and just a little bit. So now I'm going to go ahead and add some black eyeliner, and I'm taking that and I'm going to add it underneath my eyes and then into my waterline and just really, really darken it up. I then went back in with the same blue in the Jaclyn Hill palette and just buffed out that eyeliner and really set it. So now I'm going to mix black and white. I want to get a gray color with a hint of the blue. I don't want it to be too far off, but I want it to be dark enough to where you can see a noticeable difference. Now I'm just filling in those gaping holes. There was a few times I had to touch up with the blue purple-ish paint. Like I said, if you make errors, you can definitely correct them with ease. So now I'm going back into the Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm taking the same blue and I'm starting to shade those gaping holes because I want them to look hollow. You just want to make sure that when you shade that you're going in the same direction on the same side so everything looks uniform and shaded like it should. I'm pretty sure they taught this in art class. Now I'm taking the fluffier side of my brush to just blend it out. So now I'm going in with the black in the Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm just going over those same areas just to really create depth. This really helps complete the gaping holes and just bring them to life. So I will say, I thought I was adding enough black when I did this, but I ended up adding more after I filmed this. So in some of the pre-videos that you saw before this tutorial and at the end, it even looks darker because once I got into natural daylight, I realized I needed even more black. So just something to keep in mind. So now I'm going back in with that same blue and I'm gonna shade the corners of all the gaping holes. And you just want to curve them around those edges. So now I'm going in with that same blue and I'm going to start just buffing it in where I would typically buff in my bronzer to contour, just to create some dimension and depth. And then I'm going to take that same color and buff it down in my collarbone area as well. So I noticed that I needed some more eyeshadow, so I went back into the BH Cosmetics palette, the 70s palette, the same light purplish blue that I used, and just packed that on a little bit more. Now comes the fun part, liquid latex. This is the first time that I actually got to play around with liquid latex. It was something. So I had to figure out how to drip it on so that it fell the way that I wanted it to and looked like it was dripping. So I ended up using a paintbrush. And to get the color that was close to the color that's painted on my face, I went ahead and mixed the same colors and then I added the latex to it so that way it would be the color that I wanted it to. And you can see me here struggling a little bit. I feel like once I figured out how the product worked, it was a lot easier. You really have to add a lot of liquid latex to the paint, so that way it's very liquidy, but still keeps the same color. So it'll fall when you put it on. You want to pack on a lot of the product onto the paintbrush as well. Not gonna lie, it's super messy, but it was a lot of fun. If you guys will please excuse my bra as well. It was bugging me the entire time, but there's no fixing it, so it is what it is. The reason it was hanging like that is because I did decide to paint my entire shoulders, and I was back and forth when I was painting. So the other thing that I would definitely recommend, you'll see here me add some liquid latex to above my lip, being kind of daring, and to my chin. I would not recommend putting liquid latex anywhere where you are going to be bending and moving a lot. After I filmed this, I was talking and moving, and if you plan to, I don't know, take this to a costume party or something like that, the liquid latex will start to peel off. So just something to keep in mind. I went ahead and painted 2 areas where I needed to connect it just so that it all was fluid. Well, there you have it. Thank you for tuning in. I had so much fun hanging out with you guys, and I hope you enjoyed this look.